Hello. For those of you seeing this like me, first time, I think Christina is a coronavirus or no, a caterpillar? No, an elfin nurse, a fairy nurse, uh, bees. Are you a bee? You don't really look like a bee. Are you a bee? Is that a real thing? A fearless masked beetle?
No!
Oh, I was excited. I thought you uncovered a species called a fearless masked beetle.
She believed it. She believed it. Ha 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 ha.
I totally believed it.
I'm so happy. Here we
Cool.
are again. Ow.
Ooh.
Here we are again. We're
Yes,
back.
and today,
We're going to talk about distraction and redirection.
to transform your fear.
Transform your fear into something else.
Transform your fear into something more fluffy and positive and pleasurable. Again, though, I want to reiterate, if you're facing a lion or a moving car or something where you're in imminent danger, do not distract.
Don't. The thing is, none of these things is necessarily going to erase the fear entirely, because to do that, you have to get to the core of the fear. And if you're like us and the core of the fear is something much bigger than us, such as, large virus, you're going to revisit. But giving you tools to deal with your fear when it gets overwhelming and the pressure starts hitting, that's what these are for. And if your fear is to the point where it is affecting your everyday life and you being able to take care of yourself healthfully, please go get help. Not just talking to a family or a friend. Get some help with somebody who can really help you find tools and help you work through this hard time. Basically, distraction and redirection when it comes to fear are tools, correct?
Yes, they are tools.
You put them in your mental toolbox,
Yes.
along with all the other good stuff that you might already have, or we're going to help you have, or somebody's going to help you have in there. And they can be silly, ridiculous little things, or they can be really big, helpful, large things. It's whatever, and these are tools for you. They don't work necessarily the same way for everyone else. So something Annie might do might not be something I would do.
Also, something that Annie might do, or Christina, or you at home with us, but not with us, you at home might do one time, it won't necessarily work the next time. And this is something we got into before, but fear is the Borg. It's very adaptable. And if you don't know what the Borg is, go look it up on Star Trek. Or Star Trek Wiki or something.
Yeah, I'll just write little things that, pop up.
So
put them somewhere.
Borg. Yes, you'll do it. Fear is the Borg, and what I mean by that is it's very adaptable. So a tool may work when you're in a certain place one day, and then it may not work the next day, and then it may work the day after that. So the part of what we want to do for you all, and what we do for ourselves, is create a robust toolbox with, a dozen or more tools. Because honestly, you just never know which one's going to work.
Now, there are so many different things that we could talk about in terms of what kinds of things you might want to try to redirect or distract yourself. We're just going to focus on a narrow sliver now, and we're going to focus on disempowering fear, distracting fear, by doing things for others. Doing things that are going to take you out of your own focus and focus on helping other people.
Well, and one of the things you realize when you study fear is that one of its biggest components is it makes you very self-absorbed. Mm-hmm. So the more you can shove yourself out of your own looping thoughts, the more immersed you get in being of service or focusing on something else, at some point the fear just gives up and disappears because your brain just can't do two things at once, which is why we're recommending focusing on being of service.
Fear does its best work in isolation. It wants to isolate you. It wants you to be in that dark corner by yourself, doing some things that'll help you bring you out of that with other people, with that outward focus. That disempowers fear. It takes some of its power away, and that's what you want, because the less you're focused on that, the more you're focused on doing things that are in the light and brighter for you.
Right.
What you got, Annie? Tell me.
So I have a couple of things.
Do it.
One of the things is use this time to reach out and maybe reconnect with some folks that for whatever reason you haven't been connecting with as much. Now, before you say anything, people at home, let me say, fear is going to try to stop you. I mean, I think it's important we address this. Fear will try to stop you. And it'll say things like, oh, I can't talk to my friend. It's been so long. They're going to, be upset with me. Or, yeah, I mean, fear is very sneaky. So again, it's take a few deep breaths if you can. Do what you can to take deep breaths. Walk around the room. So it may take some effort, but just because it takes effort or feels uncomfortable when you're in a fear state, that probably means you're doing the right thing. Another one is write letters. Actual, printed on paper. Ooh, wait, should I run and get a piece of my stationery?
I could show them a piece. Here's a piece of paper. This is what paper is.
In case they don't know what it is.
It's paper. Okay, and this is a pen. Okay. The ink that's in a printer, they put into this pen.
Right.
And then you write with your hand on the paper, and the ink, it's kind of like you're like a very manual printer.
Right. So you write actual letters of gratitude. Anyone who's considered an essential worker and who has been risking their own health to help the rest of us, write them a letter. And mail it, because the post office needs our help too.
Needs our help, yeah.
So that's another one.
I've got a whole passel. If you're
I love that word.
A passel. If you're a sewer and you can make masks, it'd be a great thing to do. I know that our frontline people, the nurses and the doctors, they do have requirements for what they can and can't use. But there's an awful lot of people who don't have access to masks and who would need them, that you could give away. I have seen people on street corners selling masks. There are now online companies that have gotten on board and are starting to make, designer masks at $17 a pop. There's people who can't afford that,
right?
For this. So, if you've got a lot of fabric and sewing know-how, you can make masks. Go for it. If you are somebody who has a green thumb, and you get some little pots and some plants that you sprouted from seed or that you got from cuttings is a great way for houseplants. And you put them out for people who might want just a little spot of green, and that's something you can do. And again, it sounds like lemonade stand stuff, right? We're going to put on this show in our neighborhood by ourselves. But, really if you can't leave the house and you can reach out in this way, it's a lovely thing to see people, look out your window and see somebody actually grabbing a plant off your plant table, Yeah,
or even if you have an herb garden, because, food or grocery shopping is weird. Maybe I saw a video the other day of someone giving, out free samples of basil or something from their garden. And yeah, when we're all in this together like this, I think you'd be surprised, or people are surprised, how much the little things actually can change, pull you out of fear or depression or anxiety, whatever dark place you're in.
Another big thing that people are talking about a lot is running errands for people who can't get out, people who are immunocompromised, people who are older and don't have the mobility or the wherewithal to get out. And, there are ways you can do this so that it minimizes all contact. And, it doesn't take, you can think it up yourself about how to do that, leaving a note on the door and then, doing it in that way, exchanging envelopes or leaving your phone number and arranging it that way. Another thing you can do is offer to share your skills or talents online. Ones that can be done through a screen, again, that limits it. But, if you're somebody who has a talent that can be taught face-to-face and it is possible to do it, that's one thing you could do to bring yourself out. For money or not, just start with your friends who might want to learn something. And then if it feels good, enlarge it. That's the enlarging thing. Do this. Annie, do that. Come on. There you go. Okay. Are we ready for Rex, or do you have any more tools to share?
No, we're ready for Rex.
Rex.
I guess our tools were kind of Rex, but these are more...
Yeah,
what's the difference for us between Rex and tools? I'd like to know.
The viewers will decide. One of the things I want to rec is a website that I have long loved. I discovered Mental Floss like a few issues in, after they started. And then I got the ones I'm missing, and then I had every single one up until it became no longer financially feasible for them to print a paper magazine, which broke my heart. I looked forward to Mental Floss magazine. It was like getting one cup of coffee a month.
And for those of you who don't know, Christina mainlines coffee. So for her to not get coffee whenever she needs it is very, very...
Very bad. Mental Floss magazine was eclectic and nerdy, and it had all these backstories and investigations, and they were all done in really excellent writing and pithy humor, and it's just wonderful. Well, they have a website where you can almost get the magazine experience. I like paper, the feel, the books, in my hands. It's a wonderful website. They have a lot of YouTube videos that have the same flavor. So go there and get distracted. I want to talk about potatoes. Here, Annie, here, take that. Take it. Come on.
I'm taking it.
Okay, there you go. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Good. Okay, good. Now I'm going to have to get a different potato now. Hold up your potato. I want to talk about potatoes. Now, sometimes I really get into a mind whirl about really normal things. Potatoes. I really love potatoes. They're versatile, and if you just hold it in your hand, just hold it, it's like it's hitting all your little acupressure points. That cool skin, but it's not cold. It's smooth. It's not like a cucumber or an artichoke. I just want to hold up the beauty of the potato. And in times like these, when people can't go shopping as often, things like potatoes and rice and beans and dried pasta, all those things that are just not celebrated enough. These are the staples of our existence.
Well, so thank you, Mr. Potato.
There you go.
For sustaining me.
And you don't need fancy things to enjoy a potato. What's up?
Oh, that's so cute.
I'm Mr. Potato Head, huh?
Mine, since ours already has a face, I won't draw on mine.
Hey.
I found a website called Fun at Home with Kids. FunatHomeWithKids.com. We'll put it in the things, or Christina will do her magic. I often will take a bubble bath to relax pre-pandemic, PP. But so if you have bubble bath, it just is. Whoops. Stop! I'm trying to do my Rex. Okay. I often will sit in the bath and get inspiration for ideas for my stories, or think of things I need to tell someone, or whatever. It can be very creative just to sit there and let the water relax you, and then you open up to all sorts of things. However, if you're in a panic or fear mode, that sometimes can backfire on you, because it opens you up to that stuff too in your brain. So I was thinking, what are some other things you can do in the bath? So I went to this website, and they have this great idea where you can do it-yourself bath bombs. And she lists all the ingredients. I think it's baking soda. I forget what else. She makes these colorful rainbow bath bombs. But then she decided to take that even further for her kids. And when they're making the bath bomb, they hide something in it. Now, in her case, she has those little teeny plastic dinosaurs. I mean, I wish I had something to show. You could put something like a little piece of jewelry if you wanted to give it as a guest, like a little surprise to someone. You could do this.
Or a very small potato.
No, you're not putting a potato. Potato's too big. The bath bombs are only like this big, dude.
They make tiny little potatoes.
All right, fine. You do a little small potato. But what this woman did, because they had them at home, is she used teeny tiny little dinosaurs that they had, and she put them in the bath bomb so they turned into rainbow eggs. Anyway, so while the bath bomb hatches, dissolves, and then you've got the dinosaurs. It's so cool. I loved it. So that's one cool thing you can do. Another thing, this is, again, Fun at Home with Kids, but it's homemade bath paints.
Yes.
But they're soap bath paints. So you can paint each other, and then it washes off and you're clean, because she uses soap. So that's another one. Again, Fun at Home with Kids. She has a bunch of them in the bath, like a bunch. This is what I never understood. There's no age when you have to stop being kids. Is people are like, well, you're a grown-up, an adult. Why? It's like, why not?
Yeah.
We didn't excise. We didn't cut out those parts of ourselves. And I think what you and I are realizing, because we're getting so excited about our own Rex, is that allowing yourself to still feel the wonder and the joy that you were able to feel as a kid is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. And man, if nothing else disempowers fear, that sure does. Laughing and joy and silliness and the freedom of not having to be an adult whatever we think that means, is so liberating.
It's a big fallacy created by the people who sell grown-up stuff, that we have to, stop being kids and stop being silly and stop having fun. And there's just nothing that says you can't. And as Annie said, it's a wonderful antidote to fear. I think that's a good place to end. Get in touch with your inner child. They're in there.
Your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, all of you will thank you.
All right, so until next time, everybody stay safe and healthy. Let that inner kid out. Your
and
will thank you.
Fear
or not.
Less.
Ooh.
That's our goal for you.
I like it. All right, see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Immerse yourself in the potato.
Which I love.